Now to a story we're following out of Boston. Jayson Tatum, he gave Celtics fans a scare in Game 1 after landing hard on his right wrist, as you can see here in the fourth quarter. Now, afterward, Tatum said an X-ray came back clean and that he's, quote, all right. But let's bring in our senior insider, Shams Charania, for the latest here as we see him getting his wrist checked out. Shams, how is Tatum's wrist roughly 48 hours removed from that injury?
Malika, I'm told Jayson Tatum underwent an MRI over the last 24 hours to get a full look at that wrist, and he has been diagnosed with a bone bruise in that shooting wrist. My understanding is it's a pain tolerance injury, something that the Celtics will monitor day to day. But clearly for him, he's someone that loves to play basketball. I'm told his status is somewhat up in the air for Game 2 on Wednesday. So this is now a bone bruise in the right wrist, shooting wrist of Jayson Tatum. And Jaylen Brown, as we know, was also dealing with a bone bruise in his knee to end the Celtics season. Yeah, bone bruises can be tricky as we bring Brian Windhorst back into this conversation as well, because you're saying that this is a pain tolerance thing here, Shams. We know the Celtics are incredibly deep, but Brian, how cautious should Boston be when it comes to Tatum and this wrist here?
Well, let's go back to 2022, Malika. Jayson Tatum suffered a fall early in the playoffs in that playoff run that they went to the finals in, and actually suffered a very small non-displaced fracture in his left wrist that he played throughout the playoffs with, and it bothered him throughout the playoffs and maybe affected him later in the stages of those playoffs. So while Jayson Tatum has a reputation of playing through injuries, he's repeatedly one of the leaders of games played among star players in the league. Expect the Celtics to be very cautious here, learning from him having to deal with that longer-term wrist injury in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and knowing how strongly favored they are in this series. They do have great star depth. So not just in this next game, watch them take care of that wrist to make sure that it doesn't linger as much as they can.
That's a great point. Our Shams Charania reporting again that his status, Jayson Tatum's status, is up in the air here for this game too. Let's go elsewhere in the Eastern Conference here. The Milwaukee Bucks, they were without their star point guard in Game 1 against the Pacers, and he sure was missed. I think we're going to show you this graphic right here. Giannis did his part. The rest of the Bucks combined, the Bucks starters rather, combined for 14 points. But help is on the way. That's Dave's help stance, I suppose. Shams, you reported this morning that the Bucks will have Damian Lillard back for Game 2 against the Pacers. What more can you tell us about his return?
Damian Lillard just got cleared for full contact on Thursday when he was fully cleared from his blood clot, got off his blood thinning medication. So it's been several days here of ramp up, 5-on-5, full scrimmages, being able to do everything on the court. And clearly, he's very much needed for Giannis Antetokounmpo. After that Game 1 loss, it became apparent that Damian Lillard was going to do everything he can to come back in Game 2. Potentially, if the Bucks had won Game 1, I could see him potentially returning then at Game 3. But obviously, that didn't happen. My understanding is his wind stamina, both things that the Bucks will monitor, but they are fully expecting him to be ready to play as many minutes as he possibly can tonight.
Damian Lillard, of course, has been out since March the 18th. Shams, thank you so very much for joining us here on NBA Today. As we bring it back inside our studios here and are joined by our senior NBA reporter, Mark Spears. Mark, Dame's back in the mix now. For me, I'm looking at those non-Giannis minutes that he's going to be able to steady the ship a little bit here. What does it change for the equation for Milwaukee?
Well, right now, I talked to Doc Rivers today. He said he's not sure what to expect. You know, you're talking about a guy that's missed 3.5 weeks.
Right.
Practiced for 3 days. It's been a while, but you know where he's from. Where's he from?
Oakland, stand up.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He averaged 31 points in the playoffs. Doc said he doesn't know what the minute limitation is going to be, but he's going to monitor him and his movement. But based on what happened in Game 1, they need him badly. I got the sense that Dame was going to be back, and they need him to be a hero like he was in the song, The Letter O.
Oh, that graphic that we just showed certainly had him in a little bit of a hero stance there.
Looked like he was going to rap, and they need a rap performance.
I expect Indiana to turn this into a track meet again. You looked at the first half against Milwaukee on Saturday. Yeah. Fast break points. 5th in the NBA in fast break points, especially for a player who hasn't played since March 18th.
Right.
Get them out running. That's how they're going to beat this Milwaukee team. Listen, Damian Lillard back certainly helps. Even with him back, I still think Indiana is the deeper team here.
Look, you said, hey, you know, it's been a while. It's March, right? 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 minutes. Doesn't matter. You're still going to have to guard Damian Lillard, and that's what they need. This is a big boost for the Bucks. Even if he doesn't knock down shots, you still have to guard him. We saw what their strategy was. Their strategy was let Giannis do everything, get downhill, get to the free throw line, score, 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 and let's keep everyone else down. Now you have someone else in the equation, as you mentioned. But you talked about fast break points. If they're able to make more shots, they only shot 41% from the field, I think 23 or 24% from three. If Dame can help them 15, 20 points, that allows you to set up your defense. 22-5 in fast break because of all those misses.
And when you talk about we're not sure what sort of Damian Lillard is returning after missing this stretch of time, I thought you made a good point on our call earlier today. We saw a moment at the end of game one. This is very unofficial, not in the box score stat sheets anywhere, that says, okay, maybe Dame's feeling all right.
The moment that Dame was chirping, when he was chirping to Halliburton, I knew, oh, he's probably coming back soon. Because he had still that competitive edge. He had that look. He's like, I know I'm coming. Just wait. Just wait. So when we saw that moment, that chirp, I was like, oh, it's about to be Dame time.
Is Dame doing that celebration, or is Tyrese? Because we've seen them both pull that out in the past, and that's what makes this matchup.
I think both of them.
So much fun, absolutely. On Friday, though, we do have a trio of NBA playoff game threes for you here. We have the Celtics and Magic. That starts at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And then the coverage of the Pacers and Bucks, it begins at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. The Lakers and the Timberwolves, they tip off at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. Got all that, Shanae?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, coming up here on our show. The Pistons, they accomplished something in the Garden last night that they have not done in 17 years. What was it, and why the Knicks, they maybe should be a little bit worried? And Cooper Flagg, he just made it official. Now he's declared for the NBA draft, but which team would be the most electric fit for the main event? Plus, how will Ja and the Grizzlies respond tonight to a historic Game 1 loss? Why the first half, it could decide everything. NBA Today, back after this.
Lillard, as senior NBA insider Shams Charania joins us. So Shams, what can you tell us about Dame for tonight?
Christine, Damian Lillard will play tonight in Game 2 in Indianapolis. He's been out since mid-March. He was diagnosed with a blood clot in his calf, and he's made an unprecedented recovery in just over 3.5 weeks to be fully cleared. He received full clearance on Thursday from that blood clot, started full contact workouts, full scrimmages, 5-on-5, so he's been ramping up, getting ready to play. And who knows, if the Bucks had won Game 1, potentially he could have delayed his return to Game 3. But he knows Giannis Antetokounmpo needs him. They need him bad tonight. The Bucks do, and so I do expect wind stamina. Let's keep an eye on that tonight. But he's expecting to be a full go.
Yeah, that is huge news for Bucks fans. Let's keep it in the East. The Celtics, they have a 1-0 lead over the Magic. Jayson Tatum, he had a hard fall in Sunday's game. What is the latest status on him moving forward?
Christine, sources tell me that Jayson Tatum underwent an MRI on that right wrist over the last 24 hours, and he has been diagnosed with a bone bruise in his shooting wrist. It's believed to be a pain tolerance injury, something that the Celtics will be managing day to day, and his status is somewhat up in the air for Game 2 on Wednesday. It's very hard for a guy like Jayson Tatum to miss any period of time. He loves playing basketball, but that injury clearly might be something that lingers for a little bit for someone that led the Celtics in points, rebounds, and assists for the entire playoffs in 2024, plus the finals.
Yeah, I was in TD Garden when that happened. The entire TD Garden went silent, so I know that they're hoping that he can come back in this series. Shams, thank you.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Mình xin tự giới thiệu, mình là người sáng tạo nội dung trên nền tảng YouTube. Mình sáng tạo những video cắt dán. Đây là những sản phẩm cắt dán của mình. Đây. Nội dung của mình làm trên kênh chính là cắt dán. Và đây là những sản phẩm mình đã cắt dán mà mình vẫn còn lưu lại này. Đấy. Những đồ vật của mình sẽ làm là những đồ vật, động vật, con vật và rất nhiều những thứ khác mình không thể kể hết được. Đấy. Đây là một số những sản phẩm mình làm ra thôi. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm như thế này thì mình sẽ cần